An amplifier, simply put, is an electronic device charged with powering your choice of loudspeakers. Amplifiers come in a variety of different shapes and sizes and configurations, from high power to low, single channel stereo, all the way up to multi-channel. A channel in this instance refers to the number of loudspeakers that your particular amplifier is capable of driving at any one moment. A mono amplifier or single channel amplifier means that it can power but one speaker at a time. A stereo amplifier or two-channel amplifier can power two speakers at one time. Multi-channel amplifiers come in a variety of different shapes and sizes, from 3 channels to 5 to 7 or more. But the most common that you're going to find on the market today are 5 and 7 channels. Again, 5 referring to 5 speakers and 7 referring to 7 speakers. Choosing which amplifier is right for you and your system needn't be difficult. There are just 2 things that you have to take into consideration when deciding which amplifier is going to be right for you or your system. The first thing you're going to want to look at is your loudspeaker's impedance. This is often given as a number of either 4 or 8 ohms. Now, every amplifier is typically rated for also 4 or 8 ohms. If your loudspeaker falls between, say, 4 and 8 ohms, for example 6, you needn't worry. However, if your loudspeaker dips below 4 ohms, say 2 ohms, you may want to contact your amplifier manufacturer to see if your amplifier or your choice in amplifier is stable in lower impedance ratings, such as 2 ohms. Now that we know that our loudspeaker is compatible with our amplifier because it has either an 8 or a 4 ohm load, and our amplifier is also rated for 8 and 4 ohms, then we must look at our loudspeaker's sensitivity. Sensitivity is often listed on a loudspeaker as a series of numbers and letters and distances and things like that. It's not uncommon to see something that looks a bit like this: 90 dB at 1 watt at 1 meter. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that with 1 watt of power sitting 1 meter away, roughly 3 feet away from the loudspeaker, you can expect a volume output level of 90 decibels. Now, that may sound really technical, and for that I apologize, but you needn't get too wrapped up in the math of it all. The basic or best way to look at it is the lower the number, let's say 82 dB at 1 watt, 1 meter, the more power that is going to be required to drive that loudspeaker. If you have a higher number, say for instance 96, 97 dB at 1 watt or 1 meter, the less power that is going to be required of your amplifier to drive that speaker. Is there such a thing as having too much power? Well, the answer to that is no, because too much power isn't what damages loudspeakers. It's actually having too little. Think of power like horsepower in a car. When you're traveling along at, say, 60 miles an hour, everything's good, everything's stable and smooth. However, music, much like driving, doesn't always happen at a steady, even keel. So, when music hits what's known as a dynamic passage, where it suddenly gets really loud, really fast, you want power on tap, just like horsepower in a car, when trying to overtake. If you don't have enough power in your car when you try and overtake, you're not able to overtake in time, and you run into problems. You can get into an accident. Well, an accident's like clipping in a loudspeaker. If the signal or the music gets really complex or the explosion really loud, well, if your amplifier doesn't have enough juice, you can actually hit the ceiling of the amplifier's power and thus cause your loudspeaker to clip. Clipping or distortion or things of that nature is what damages loudspeakers, not actually putting too much power to them. So this is something to keep in mind when choosing an amplifier. You may want to consider stepping up to an amplifier with a little bit more power to give you that headroom for those moments where your source material demands it. So there you have it, a real basic overview of what makes an amplifier unique. how best to go about matching one to your system, and just how much power one really needs in order to enjoy their favorite music and movies. For more information, please visit Emotiva.com or write to us at info@emotiva.com.